to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call. Jeremiah Sensley, present. Corey Jones.
Present.
Keith Neff. Here. And we do not have Thomas Doherty. Is it Doherty or Doherty?
I believe it's Doherty.
Doherty. Others present. Ethan Holmes. Here. Michelle Baird.
Here.
And Daniel Becker.
Yes, here.
And residents present.
Adrian Jady.
Never know that. All right. Public comments. All public comments should be related to the subject matter jurisdiction of the Bureau of Wyomissing Civil Service Commission, shall be limited to matters of public concern, official action or deliberations that are or may come before the Wyomissing Civil Service Commission. Is there any public comment?
Not from me.
Okay. Can we get approval of our minutes from the January 15th Civil Service Commission meeting? Copies attached if you had a chance to look at it.
I have, and I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Okay, motion carries. And the next item of action is review and discuss the test results of applicants for the position of Deputy Fire Chief of the Fire Department. So I will turn it over to Ethan.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So we did our testing process. Through the application period, we whittled down the total applicants down to 5 that were eligible to move on to do the written exam. Held the written exam, had one person, one candidate pass the written exam with a score above the cutoff of 80%. So he had moved on to the interviews. Made it through the interview, but did not score high enough to move forward any further in the process. So at this time, we have 0 candidates moving forward.
So we really just simply need to approve the list with 0. There's no candidates on the list.
Okay. Then I assume we can go on to the next step.
Right. The next one actually will become moot.
Okay.
Right. And then we go to the third action item, or the third.
All right. So, the technicality, we have a motion to approve the list of 0.
So move.
A second.
All right. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And so now we need to consider authorizing commencement of examination in accordance with Wyomissing Borough Firefighter Civil Service Rule. So Ethan.
Wait, back up one step.
Oh,
For
sorry.
number 7, you need
Yeah.
it, I guess,
So,
table action?
yeah, so what we would do is just declare that it's moot and take no action. So just for the record, since there were no candidates on the list, there's no list to certify, so therefore the action that was proposed to happen potentially, when number 7 is moot, so no action is necessary. Therefore it's moot, no action is necessary.
Okay.
Okay?
Still table.
You can, if you prefer to do it that way. It's either way, it doesn't matter. If you want to take actions to table them.
Okay. Do we have a motion to table our certification of an eligibility list until we have eligible candidates?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And motion carries. Okay. And on to number 8.
Okay, so from our certified entry-level list that we had put together last year for the hiring that happened July 22nd, have nobody else left on that list. So our certified list has been completed. We brought the last eligible person from that list on board starting February 17th. So we still have one vacancy that is open that we need to fill. So I requested to fire police and the council to activate the Civil Service Commission to be able to talk about and start the process for another entry-level testing this year. So that we can get a list together to be prepared towards the end of the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter, or early 1st quarter of 26 to be able to bring on board a new firefighter to fill that vacancy. So I guess
Yeah, so they're just looking for a motion to commence the examination process.
Okay.
It says I'll make a motion to commence the examination process.
Second.
Any discussion? Questions for Ethan? What's the timeline?
So the tentative timeline, looking at opening the application period May 15th,
Okay.
it would close on June 16th, which is approximately a month. We would require a meeting for Civil Service Commission sometime during, from closing closing the application period to a week before, at least a week before the written examination date. So sometime between June 16th and I have the exam date tentatively scheduled for July 19th. So sometime in that time frame, we need to get a civil service meeting together to determine candidate eligibility to go forward to the written test. After that, we would do the written examination, hopefully on that Saturday the 19th. Candidates would be then notified of their scores. Following that, so the week of the 21st, they get their notification for that, and the next step in the process, which would be the candidate physical ability testing. And that is run through a consortium of fire departments that test out of Lancaster Public Safety Training Center. And that physical assessment process is something that is endorsed by the International Association of Firefighters, the International Association of Fire Chiefs. So it's a very reputable type of physical agility testing. It's consistent. That testing process starts August 5th and runs through September 29th. Following that, if they're successful, and following the civil service rules and regulations, we would move the candidates that were successful on to the interviews. And we're looking at doing interviews in October, the week of the 9th or the 10th. It's going to be dependent on when we do, or when we have a lot of stuff scheduled for fire prevention, because October is fire prevention. So I have to kind of manipulate those candidate interview dates to align with where we have availability. So we'd be looking at sometime in the beginning of October for that. The second half of October, after the October 20th, looking at having a civil service meeting to certify an eligibility list, to be able to go from civil service to council for November 12th. And I can get a clean copy of this timeline off of the consent.
I'll spell it out in minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we had a motion, we had a second. All those in favor say aye. 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 Motion carries. So hopefully so just to clarify too, this list that did not produce any results was for promotion, right?
The list that did not produce any results was for the newly created deputy fire chief position.
That was a promotion from within?
No, that was an open, to current staff members, employees, and outside.
And then this new list that we're creating is for that, and also candidates for general?
No, the new list and testing process that we just approved here is just for entry level. So this is all outside candidates that want to work for the fire department.
Okay. All right. Any other business? Do you have something for us, Chief?
So the chief and I were just talking about there's maybe going to be a need for another meeting here within the next couple of days. After this meeting, we'll talk about just something that came up in the police process, and there may be a need for us to be on that. We'll have a discussion, maybe send an email trying to set up a meeting within the next couple of days.
So that's off the record then?
No, that can be on the record. I just need to talk to the chief a little further, and we need to talk about timing and try to figure something out.
But in terms of our meeting now, there's no other?
No, just an update that we probably will be getting together within the next couple of days.
I wanted to give an update, circling back to the deputy chief position. The next steps are, Chief Holmes has been working on revising the job description and the civil service rules and regulations, because we're obviously gonna need to advertise and open the job again. So the steps for that would be to take it to the March Fire and Police Committee meeting, the March Personnel meeting, and then approval by council at the April meeting. So
To
we,
reopen the
deputy chief, so we would also need a meeting at some point after, April council meeting. So we would need a meeting of the Civil Service Commission at some point after the April council meeting to approve.
When's the April council?
That is what I was about to look at when I started talking. It is April, yes, 8th, it's early.
The following week is, spring break, it's for the week. Still be shooting for the week of the 21st.
I mean, we could do that meeting as early as April 9th.
Oh, okay. I'll be out of town 8th, 9th, and well, maybe back when we can. So,
What about the 11th, that Friday?
that would probably work.
Corey, Keith?
Check. April 11th. I should be able to do that.
Okay. Dan, are you available April 11th? Does anybody have a time preference?
Midday is good.
12?
Then use my lunch to get here.
Can make you a sandwich?
Please.
Yeah, that's tonight.
Sure. So there would be actually two things to discuss at that meeting, at least in terms of fire department approval of opening. Well, first you would need to approve the revised rules and regulations, and then approval of opening the job position.
So that was April 11th, noon.
Yes.
The timeline for that?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I have all that approved.
So before we conclude, just what we're going to be looking at is to talk to the chief. If we need the hearing, we're going to need something probably within the next
Week.
week, 2 weeks. So I don't know what your schedules look like then. Maybe we can look at a tentative date.
Monday or Thursday? What do you guys think?
If you do the 10th, I need to check with Melissa that she can do minutes.
I can do any of them as long as it's like 11 or 12.
And honestly, like this Friday, my schedule's open in the middle of the day.
This Friday.
We can't do this Friday, no more.
Free in the morning. If it's after 3, you gotta bring beer at 1.
So,
I can do next week, around midday.
what day?
I can move a couple things around. Actually, Monday through Thursday is better than Friday.
I can do Wednesday or Thursday.
Wednesday we have the safety meeting.
Huh?
Wednesday or the 12th or the
Yeah.
13th is fine with me too.
Actually, I'd rather go the
Safety is
13th.
the 25th.
13th, I actually got.
Okay.
I mean, I can shift the time.
I can do Wednesday at noon. 11 might be
Yeah, Wednesday at noon would be.
cutting it close.
So we come to safety meeting.
So, the 12th at 12 p.m.?
Just told that as a tentative date, we'll let you know for sure.
No, safety is the 25th at 9 to 10